Hello everyone, welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Kemi. Kemi inspires me. She was one of the really person who stood up for me when I started my book launch tour and called me out and invited me to her radio show to talk to her about my book. But really what motivates me about Kemi is not just what she did for me, but it's also what she does. She's a host for a radio show. She's a motivational speaker. She gives out daily quotes on her Instagram page. She's a fitness motivator. She's a mental health warrior, giving inspirational, motivating people who are going through deep times. Kemi is so much, and I don't even know where to start. But she's also so down to earth that sometimes you call her out, you're not quite sure why you are calling her, because she's doing so much already for you and you just don't want to bother her anymore. But I really want to share her story on what inspires her, what motivated her to join this journey of keeping it real. Meet Kemi. Welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. I'm here with Kemi. As I previously said in my introduction, Kemi, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely.
How are you?
I'm fine. Ever so happy to see you.
I'm even more happier to see you. I'm so glad you joined me.
Yeah.
Before we get started, I just wanted you to tell me a little bit about yourself and who is Kemi, and I know you do.
Right. Kemi is a lady of many hats. I'm going to talk in third person so you kind of start getting an insight into me. My full-time job, I actually am an insurance broker. Well, not a lot of people know that about me. That's why I said you're going to shock. And obviously what happened with the kind of person I am and everything, I decided to kind of give back to the community and spread the word, and radio came into play. Obviously with the confidence with that was my events company, which will be 12 years this 30th of July. And that's probably where I got more of the confidence, obviously speaking to people, speaking at public events, being the main focal person in any party or wedding. So that's where the radio came into play and built that confidence on there. But it's, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister as well.
No, Kemi, I really had to reach out to you because I know one of the things I said in my intro is that, when I did my book launch, you were the first that reached out to me and said, I want to invite you on my radio show to talk about your book, because I know, we've got a number of listeners there, and we did get a lot of calls, people asking
Yes.
about the book. You're such a person that does so much, but yet, very silent about that. How do you stay so grounded with everything that you do?
Basically, the way I see it is, in life, people say when you're doing too many things, you never finish one thing. But for me, I kind of am a perfectionist in anything I do. So I kind of keep myself grounded. I focus on what it is I want to achieve with each of the things I'm doing. Because for me, it's all hobbies. Even my 9-to-5 job is a hobby, because I enjoy talking to people and making sure they've got the right cover and stuff. All the other things I do, even the fitness, like I said to someone, I don't do it for profit. It's basically for me to find a way to enjoy exercising and encourage others to exercise to the best of their ability, so it doesn't become a chore. So I think what it is the main focal thing is the value behind each of the things I do, to be able to give back to people and see people smile. I think that's my greatest joy, when I see people smile at the end of it all.
That's really amazing. You're not just on all of this. I think the most important role you have is also your mother. How do you balance motherhood, family life, and all the little things, all the little chunks of things you do, which turns out to be massive things? How do you do it all?
The first things first is I'm a very firm believer of family. Okay. So one way or the other, my sisters, my mom and dad have been very supportive in everything I do, chipping in when they need to. And the boys, for me, I laid a very good foundation for them. With all what's going on in the world, you always worry. When you have boys especially, you always worry even more. And I said to myself, look, I can't take care of them 24/7 or watch over them 24/7. But as a single mother, I will do my best for them so they never lack. Not spoil them. That's what I don't do. But I give them the basics so that they actually learn. And I always say to them, God forbid I'm not here tomorrow. I don't want you to be a burden to anyone. So same thing I've done with my sisters. I've practically raised my sisters as well, being one of the oldest. So they've always looked at me as a mother figure, second mum, basically. So that's kind of helped a lot because, like I said, they've helped to babysit while I've done other stuff, and they've chipped in, helped out. And it's helped the boys as well to see that unity between us, because with that, they've kind of understood what family values are.
Wow. No, that's a beautiful thing. And what strikes me from what you've just said is that you're raising two boys. I have a son myself. Even everything going on in today's world, you heard about the Black Lives Matters, and it's just the fact of life, whether we like it or not. There's no way we could avoid topics like this. How do you educate your boys to fit into society, to let them know their values and let them know that no matter what's going on outside, that they are the best? Because why I ask this question, because I was brought up in Africa, and as much as I was brought up here, and in Africa we never saw that because we were all Black, but what we saw was the tribal issues because of the different tribes. So we had to deal with that part of things. So we were always aware of the different tribes and how to embrace that. Going on here, there was a different kind of issues. It was a bigger kind of issue because it wasn't color issue. I mean, it wasn't tribal issue, but it was more the color of your skin. Which is, and the color of your skin, what people forget, the color of your skin is a visible thing. People see it. So it's not like tribe. I could really disguise myself and act like that tribe. But the color of the skin is so visible. How do you educate boys to be firm and still stand their grounding in everything going on in today's world?
Okay, with my children, what I've done with them is that foundation I laid was making sure they knew who their identity was, because their identity is very key. Because I feel if they don't know their identity, anything I want to tell them is just not going to resonate. So I've kind of fed into them that no matter what, don't let color be your barrier. Make sure you go above and beyond. Don't let the sky be that limit, because in anything, you might have to work twice as hard, fine. But if you're passionate about it and you really want that thing, forget about all the discriminations, forget about everything in the world, just do you. Concentrate on what you want to achieve and the legacy you want to leave behind, because it's very key. Because the moment you put any kind of negativity into their brain, that's what's going to come out. So you have to feed them with positivity, feed them to look beyond and above anything that might be negative in their life, and just segregate that barrier and just move forward.
Wow, honestly, that's amazing. Because I think that's where my dad brought me up in terms of my sickle cell. I never knew what sickle cell, I never knew was a thing. I knew I was sick, obviously, because I was always sick, but no one in the house identified me as that sickler. They just said, yeah, she's sick, she's in hospital. And that made me feel like I could do anything. So I didn't restrict myself. I say, oh, I'm sick, I can't do that. Anyway, coming on to you, one thing that fascinates me, is when I go to your Instagram page, and as anybody listening should just definitely go visit her Instagram page. You share daily motivation. And like every morning when I turn on my phone, I go to your page. I don't even need to go to your page because your thing fills my pages up. Where'd you get this inspiration? Because sometimes, not just the daily motivation that inspires me, but it's that if you put out a word out there, you're consistent with what you're saying. So sometimes you're talking about women and you're consistent with that message of women. Then you're talking about compassion. You're consistent with the message of compassion. Darling, could you explain how you do all of that?
One thing about me, Anne, is I believe God had given me a certain gift. And my transition into 40, as you've just joined the club, it was finding inner peace. I found inner peace, and that was my transition. And within that inner peace, I find that, you know, some people say they dream and they forget. But one thing comes into me is inspiration in my dream. So that's why you find that sometimes I wake up and whatever has been in my dream is what I resonate on that day. People think, oh, I sit down and I said, no, it's whatever that feeling that comes within just pours out. You know, there are days I don't even post in the morning and people always like, they're always tapping their fingers waiting that she is going to post today.
It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
And when I don't, they always send me a message at, is everything okay? I said, I'm fine. I'm just taking my time to get that message across, because it has to come from within. You can't just, I don't make things up. That's one thing I don't do. Everything I write is from my heart, literally. It's whatever that mood is that day is what comes out. So that's why you see that there's consistency, because that mood is set in stone. I'm very mischievous, as you know. When I put certain jokes out, people are like, yep, the mischievous side has come out. But I'm very practical, because I will still link it into whatever it is I'm doing for that day. But it's just, I think for me, it's just been a gift and the passion that I just want to encourage somebody, because you never know the word that you're speaking, who it's resonating with on that particular day.
Wow. You balance your insurance broking business, working for that, and you do the radio show. How did the radio show come about?
Okay, with the radio show, I've always wanted to spread the word and shine the light on different people, including yourself. And I've been following, for instance, I'll use you as a prime example. I've been watching you, seeing you grow, seeing your journey. And I thought, what better way for me to shine out people, so that the people understand that in life, no matter the struggles, the obstacles, or anything, barriers that might come, you're able to still achieve beyond that. You're able to look outside the box, because there's no box as far as I'm concerned, but you're able to achieve. So it took me 2 years, because I wanted to be with a station that I could really be myself, and kind of spread the word. And I wanted something that was going to be global as well. I didn't want something that was just an FM stereo that was in England. And I thought, you know what? I prayed about it. I sat down and I said, you know what? Once he says me the sign, I would know. And as I was thinking, Tribe Urban decided to recruit. And boom, I went for the interview, and immediately they were like, oh gosh, we really want you and everything. I said, okay, not a problem, because I think they could see where I was going with this, because for that 2 years, I already had the topics I wanted to speak about already. So and I think with the events thing, that's the organizational skills that kind of came into it. So for me, that's how I've always been. My mother, everyone would tell you the same thing, that this child is always organized from day one. So with the radio, for me, it was just a way to shine the light on the community. And I want generations to come to go back and see these things and actually learn from it. So that's where my legacy is with that I want everyone to learn.
Keeping fit is something you're very enthusiastic about. You encourage all sorts of people, doesn't matter your size, to do the little you can to keep that active. So when you do that, what is your goal? Is your goal to keep fit, or is your goal to be consistency in whatever you're doing? And how did you come up with the idea?
Okay, in 2000, I'll start with the story, then it will come to how the consistency, everything falls into place. In 2015, I said, look, my children are growing, my children are very active, I keep running around after them, and I'm just energetic anyway, naturally. And I said, you know what, let me go and do the personal training course. I did it, passed it with flying colors, you know, with the help of Genesis Fitness. And I'm friends with her till today. And she could see that, you know, I wasn't put back by my size, or because I've never been skinny or thin or anything. I've always been round figured. Just because, and I think that's where the energy comes from anyway. And she said to me, gosh, you've got so much energy that nobody, first things first, when people see me, they think, oh, I don't think she's got it in her.
Mm.
And when they come to my classes, they think, wow, gosh, she's outbeaten me. So with that was, for me, I wanted to keep my cardio going. I wanted to keep my heart going, because one thing for sure, I always say to people, you can be skinny and not fit, and you can be chubby and not fit. But if you've got that consistency going, your cardio will help you keep pushing. Your stamina comes from within. But for me, I think my added bonus is my energy. I've got too much energy within me.
Wow. And anyone who wants to join your classes, how do we get on board?
Right. At the moment, well, you can follow my page, because I do a lot of, things that you can do at home at the moment. I'm actually looking for another venue. I used to teach in Edgware and Colindale. I'm actually looking for another venue that is very COVID compliance, because obviously I want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable coming back, especially with the gyms going back. But some people are not comfortable going back to the gyms. So I still want to do the same thing. And one thing a lot of people have said is that when it comes to music, I'm very passionate about music anyway. And I think that's what helps my classes. So just follow the page, look out for updates, because there will be a new venue. Quite a few venues have actually contacted me, and I'll be releasing that. And if you want one-to-one sessions, COVID compliance, I'm your girl.
It's wonderful. You're a woman in this challenging world. And a lot of people are so put off by being a woman, because they always see the circumstances that surround women to be successful. You said you're a single mother and you still manage to do all of these things. As a woman, or any other woman watching this right now, what would be your advice to them who might be struggling to balance it all and still maintain staying?
The biggest advice is sitting back. Just sit back, because I think the world is always fast-paced sometimes. But if you sit back and find that, what is it that I want to leave behind? What is it that I want people to, when my name is heard, I want to be associated with? What is it that I want to achieve positively in this world? Sit back and just let it come naturally. Because a lot of people don't let it come naturally, and that's why they outburn themselves in the process. So just let it come naturally. It might take weeks, it might take months, it might take years, but at the end of the day, don't push yourself too much and don't beat yourself up too much. That's one thing I've never done. And that's one thing people always say to me, when do you sleep? I said, you don't need to know when I'm sleeping, just know when I'm awake. And you'll be fine. But the main focus is just the value you want to have in this world. That's the most important thing, because look, you can be doing so many things. What's that saying? Always busy, but busy doing nothing.
Busy, yeah.
But be busy doing something that leaves a legacy behind for generations to come. So that's the best advice I'll give it. Don't outburn yourself, but let it come naturally. Don't follow the Joneses. And one thing I'll say with women is women need to learn to support one another, because you never know what you might get.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a big gap with women. We all want to be successful, but we all want to do it solo, but we don't realize it. And when we work together, we build a bigger castle, and and it's enough for everyone to eat from that castle. Yeah.
And unity, when you're unified, it's very hard for the chain to be broken.
That's true. Yeah.
Very hard. Even if you go to a chain and you pull it in different ways, it will not be broken, because that unity is there, you see. And that's why I started Queens Support Queens, because you probably didn't know I was the one behind that. Because going forward, I will be doing events to let us identify what the issues are within women. Why is it that we find it very difficult to support one another? And turning it into a positive. So we learn from each other.
Well, I think I'm glad So, Kemi, are you saying you do the fitness, you do the radio show, you do have a day job, you're a family woman? I'm sure there's many more that you do, but this is so amazing because you know what, you do it all graciously. You never, I never see you with a down face. Every time I see Kemi, you have a big smile on your face, which makes me actually happy all the time.
Oh,
In our final message, for the conversation, what would be your message of hope to people out there in terms of the way you view current situation in light of COVID? A lot of people are not able to do what you do because probably they have never got this time and the know-how of being able to hustle in this environment, because this environment is actually going to be a lot of being able to do things out of the ordinary, not your normal things you would normally do. You have balance there because even if you don't have your day job, you've got so many other things that you could turn those things around because you're so used to juggling. So many people don't know how. What's your message of hope in light of all of this?
The first message I will give, the very, very important thing I will give is when you do something, delegate time to it. Split the time equally. It's very important. And I think that's why people don't know how to hustle or how to keep things that they're doing to me. So the first things first is delegate time to each of these things. The most important thing, like I said, is your passion. Let that, whatever you want to do, let it be a hobby, not a chore. If you change your mindset from being a chore to a hobby, the sky's the limit. Or should I say above the limit? It's, people moan. Another thing I'll say is people moan a lot about certain things in life. Stop moaning. That's the first, another thing. Stop moaning. Because when you stop moaning and appreciate everything around you, and you're grateful to where you are today, many have not survived through this COVID. You are alive. Many have gone through obstacles and not survived. You are alive. The fact that you can go to sleep, even if you're not sleeping well or whatever, the fact that you can open your eyes the next morning and embrace what the next day is, that's another thing. And one last thing, live in the now. Live in the now. It's very important because the race you're running, somebody else doesn't even know you're running with them. But if you're living in the now and appreciating what it is that you want to bring to the world, nobody knows what the future holds. So live in the now, in the present, and you will achieve more that way.
Wow. Kemi, thank you so much for joining me on this platform, a conversation with myself and Welsh.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it, and keep shining because I need those motivational speech. Keep dreaming, whatever you do, keep dreaming, keep shining.
I will. He's watching.
You are inspiring millions and including myself. And I appreciate you for this. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you, Anne, and keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, don't worry, I've got more plans for you.